Let's take a quick recap of what we've done so far. We simply created an interface. After that, then we started with our contract. We call this the block contract. Inside the block contract, we had some public variables, which are contract level variables. This obviously costs money in terms of gas. More to this understanding later. And we then had a mapping, and this obviously has its getter and setter functions. Then we created another mapping, and this was a nested mapping, and we called this map an allowed mapping. We then talked a bit about constructors. We created the balance of function. So notice we've got a balance of function and we've got a balances mapping. So we'll talk about that shortly once I deploy this. Then we talked about the transfer function. We discussed about the allowance function. We discussed about the approve function, and then we discussed about the transfer from function. So very simply stating, it's a very simple implementation of an ERC20 contract. And yeah, if you're following along the tutorials, tons of documentation out on YouTube and on different channels. So you should be following this quite well. So hopefully there are no major roadblocks that you have till now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy this on the blockchain. And to do that, some high level information. So I'll simply just go to this option. So the moment I click on this Ethereum type icon, you will see it says deploy and run transactions. So I'll simply click on this one. And over here, you can see that my environment currently is Remix VM Shanghai. So if I just expand this, there are a couple of environments where I can essentially do my development. We'll talk a bit about these also going forward, but for now, leave it to what the default is. Don't worry too much about it, what your virtual environment is. Focus here on this address. So you will see a bunch of addresses over here, right? So these are all the addresses that come default with your Remix ID, and each of these has fake ether. So obviously these are not real ethers. This is all fake ether. So this is the account address, and this is the fake ether that account has as a balance. So for now, this is my address. So this will be the address of the founder. So the person of the address of the person deploying this smart contract. Now, the address of the founder could be, for example, this as well. The address of the founder could be any of these addresses. So this is essentially the address of the person who is going to hit this deploy button and get the smart contract on the blockchain. This will be the person who is the founder of this. So for now, I will just put it over here. Probably I'll just take the first one. So 0x5b3, and the last ending digits are EDDC4. So let's keep this as the founder address. And remember, when we were talking about constructors, that the moment I deploy this smart contract, this constructor function will fire up. And this constructor function will send about 1,000 tokens to this founder address. And what is this founder address? So I'll simply click on this button and I'll copy it from here, and let me just maybe paste it over here. So this is the address of the founder. So I'll just say founder's address, and I'll keep this address saved over here just for reference. Now again, this could be any address from all these addresses that I've shown you, but let's keep it as a default first one for now. So this address, the moment I hit the deploy button, this address will be captured from message.sender, and this will go in the variable founder. Now, this variable founder is then used for the balances mapping. So it says balances founder, which is essentially this address, equals to total supply, and total supply is 1,000 tokens. So this 1,000 tokens goes in the address of the founder. So once we look at the balances mapping after we deploy the smart contract, this has an address and the number of tokens it has. So like a bank balance, it stores the balance of each individual. So like I've given the example over here, it's an address and then it has some tokens. So an address and some tokens. So this is how the structure of this balance mapping would look like. All right. So with that, let's hit the deploy button. And I leave these defaults as is for now. So gas limit, I'll leave it as is for now. Topics for a later discussion. Contract is obviously my contract, so ERC20 Fahad.sol, and I am simply going to hit deploy. Now, the moment I hit deploy, notice what happens over here. So it tells me, I get this green tick, and it does tell me that if I'm going to expand this, that it gives me a transaction hash, a block number. It gives me a contract address, so where this was deployed. So I'm just going to copy this for now. Let's see if we can make use of this in our DAP video, or we'll deploy a fresh one from start. And what I'm going to do is that I'm also going to copy this address. So I've got the copy here as well. So notice this address is similar. So if I'll just maybe zoom it a little. So this is the contract address. So this is where the contract is deployed. So when we deploy on Sepolia, I'll show you how it appears in Etherscan. But for now, this is the contract address. This is your from address. So this is your founder, right? So if you notice 0x5b3, so this is your founder's address. And notice the last 4 digits as well. Then it shows how much gas was consumed, the cost of the gas. Obviously, we are on a free VM at the moment, so we haven't paid. We have virtually paid, and it's not an actual physical money transaction from my account. So this essentially shows that I've done some previous before, so you can see some history, but you would probably see something from here. So you'll see a green tick, and you'll see some record. So this essentially tells us that your contract is now successfully deployed. All right. Now, since I had a previous contract deployed when I was doing my testing, so I'm going to delete one of these two. And the question is, which one should I be deleting? So I'll just quickly zoom in over here a bit. So the question is, which one of these two should I be deleting? So one is the one that I was testing before making this video, and the other is the one that I have just done. So answer is very simple. Look at the contract address. It says 0xF8E. So this is the one that we've just deployed in this video. And this is the one that I was playing for before. So I'm simply going to just click on remove from list, and it will disappear, so that we just have one contract reference that we are playing with at the moment. So there's no confusion. We can, of course, have both, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'll just keep the one that we are interacting with for now. So hope the deployment process went smoothly and there were no errors. If there were any errors, you would have got those errors over here in the Solidity compiler. So I'll just create probably one error just to show you if there were errors, how would they have appeared. So maybe what I can do is I can maybe just remove this curly braces, and you can see if there were any errors. While you were coding along, Solidity will flag those errors, and when you click on this, it's also going to show you what the error was. So this one essentially is quite straightforward, and it tells me that there was an expected curly brace, and it's being missed. So if you get any errors, this is how you're going to see it. So you'll see a red badge over here with some number of errors, and once you click on it, you will see some details over here of what the errors are. And hopefully, if you are following along the video, you're not getting any errors. But yeah, if you're getting errors, that's totally all right. Errors are a part of a good programmer's lifestyle. So yeah, you should always look forward to errors and be happy to debug them. All right. So yeah, with that, I think that should be it for this video, and let's start interacting with our contract in the next video. So with all of that and more in the next lesson.